there's been this new phenomenon that I've recently seen online, and it's wishing for things to fail. Like seeing a movie, and maybe like one detail is incorrect, and you're like, oh, this movie sucked. It's going to suck because I saw this minor detail, so therefore I want it to fail. In fact, I want them to lose money on it so they learn their lesson and I don't know, that's basically where it ends. And I can't help but realize that this is a pretty like recent phenomenon. Like I haven't been playing, consuming content, movies, games, mostly in that area for the past 20 years of my life, and it's just this is a pretty new thing. Like back in the day, we saw some people who were like, "Oh, that looks kind of fun. Maybe it would be fun to play. Maybe it'd be fun to watch as the movie. Maybe watching a movie. Ooh, that movie has some pretty cool things. So I can't wait for it to happen. Like, I can't wait for it to release so I can get to watch it." And I don't know where it's from. I think like a lot of it is just like maybe we've like almost experienced too much good. Maybe everything is now like just average or maybe a little bit above average because it's made by professionals and professionals know how to write at least decent things. Maybe we spoiled ourselves because now it's like if it's not like a masterpiece, it just sucks. It's just mid. Like apparently being average is like a death sentence for any kind of content you're trying to consume. Like Assassin's Creed Shadows is basically the thing that started this whole whole topic because there's like a segment of the population, of the gamer population, that wants this game to epically fail. And it is mostly the DEI, like the black samurai or the female shinobi. Really depends on whether you're more racist or more sexist. That immediately just sets this game right off. And granted, with Ubisoft, Ubisoft does have a bad track record of like removing pre-existing games or releasing just really average games. Like they really have copy pasted the Far Cry 3 formula for the past 10 years. 2012 was when Far Cry 3 was released, and that game has basically been copy pasted across every Ubisoft game to the point where I was just waiting for that when I was playing Prince of Persia: Lost Crown to just see it, and it kind of still was like that game itself was just so big and had a lot of unnecessary collectibles. Like, ugh. But I digress. That Ubisoft kind of has a bad track record, so wishing them to fail is a very weird thing. Like, I don't watch a trailer and like wish like death upon this game's success. I think that's just, it's not conducive. It's not going to help make better games. What we really want is just hope the game is good. And granted, we can see like a lot of like little details here and there. Oh, the combat isn't as pristine. Maybe the animations kind of suck. Maybe the facial animations have been kind of, going downhill, which they have in Assassin's Creed, especially Mirage compared to some other games, especially Unity. But wishing for games to fail is not going to make games better. It's not going to be like Ubisoft goes bankrupt and then like, oh, we'll just give all their properties to Sony. Like, how is that going to solve anything? Sony can't even produce any games. Have you seen Concord? Like, I'm a gamer. I want every game I play to be great because that's exactly what I want to experience. I don't want to play a bad game. I know like hate playing or hate watching is a thing, especially for some movies. And there are definitely like some movies and TV shows that are so bad they're good. There's the whole genre of that movies, but so bad it's good with games doesn't really apply because if the core gameplay just sucks and you're having a miserable, frustrating time, you're not going to want to keep playing that. It's only for the story will you experience it. Maybe the dialogue's really bad. Maybe you just watch the game then. But I really do feel like this whole like phenomenon is inspired by streamers and content creators. How they'll knowingly play a bad game like Gollum or like Kingdom the Kong Island, yeah, the King Kong game that really sucked. That was basically N64 graphics, and they'll do that for content, and it is funny. It is funny seeing them suffer through it because at that point, I think it becomes more of a mental challenge for them. Like I can get through this, I can tough it out. Maybe they start enjoying it after a while. But yeah, this is definitely a new phenomenon, and then like that audience just like encourages the hate. Like, yeah, play more shitty games, play more bad games. We want you to play more. We want all games to be bad. Assassin's Creed Shadows, crap. Go and play that. Go and suffer through that game. Oh, what's the next game? Star Wars Outlaws. Oh, that looks pretty crappy too. Look, just see the enemy AI. It's so crap. Play that game. Suffer through it. And it's just like odd because there are totally so many like bad games on Steam that nobody cares about. There's like games released daily, hourly, minutely. I'm pretty sure it's not a real word, but that are released that no one cares about. They probably don't even classify as like real games, but they're probably just programs that like some 18-year-old who just learned C++ is trying to. Oh man, I made my first game. Gotta go test it out, and just crashes the first time you play it. Maybe I truly believe we reached a point with like music and games. Maybe I think maybe we have kind of really truly reached a point, especially with the game side, that there's just a lot of good games that like you can just miss out on all the current years and just go play a backlog. Like we've reached a point where I personally feel like graphics have peaked. I was literally playing like Nier Automata, came out in 2017. That game looked fine. It looked fine. Like a little more polished texture, a little more RTX isn't going to make the game better. The game was already great from the start. Like I feel like we're good on graphics. So now we've like reached a point where like, how do you impress an audience? Like, does it have to go bigger? They have to go larger? Like, has Red Dead Redemption 2 really like spoiled all of our expectations? I'm actually replaying Red Dead 2. I actually don't find it like that amazing. Mostly because it's just such a slow ass game. I've been playing the game for like 10 hours. I'm only on chapter 2. But I digress. Like, we can literally keep playing games to last us a lifetime and never have to upgrade to anything current. So like now it's like everything has to be Elden Ring or it's bad. And that's just not like a good way to live. Personally, I hope Assassin's Creed Shadows is amazing. I hope the delay was necessary because the last time Ubisoft released a game that, on next-gen consoles for the first time was Assassin's Creed Unity. And that game, I played that game on day one. And man, did it chug around. It was running at like 20 frames per second. And the whole new parkour system they added was just so janky and so floaty. Like they had ambition when they made Unity. Like there was all new animations, a whole new city. Like the crowd was huge. There were so many people in it. Still to this day, I think that's actually the most amount of NPCs in a city in any Assassin's Creed game ever. But it just did not run well at all. It did not run. It barely worked. There was the running meme of the skeleton face where it was in the middle of a cutscene. And that game really needed to be delayed by at least a few months, maybe 6 months, just to get all the bugs out of the way. And I think that's the reason why I didn't pick up Syndicate. I still haven't played Syndicate. I probably will play that in the future. But I digress. But anyway, this whole culture of wishing for things to fail because you don't like them is just weird and unnecessary. It doesn't make it's not going to make better games. It's going to make worse games. It's going to lead to layoffs, going to lead to more negativity. It's going to ultimately lead to just no good games getting released as much. And that's kind of sad. Anyway, 2025 is looking pretty good. February is now the most packed February I've ever seen, with Avowed, Monster Hunter Rise, and Assassin's Creed Shadows entering the fray. I know everyone's kind of like mentioning, they released it on Black History Month. They released it on Nigga Month! But I think maybe the slight tease is the release on Valentine's Day. Maybe it's a love story. I hope Assassin's Creed Shadow is a love story, because it's been a while since I've seen a love story in games where like the protagonists are on two equal footing, where like You know, it's where it's not just I save you at the end and I get a kiss Mario style, or like the woman. It's always a woman in the it's always a woman in this case. Hey, fun fact: name me a game where you're playing as a female and it's a love story and the male is like the side character. I actually can't name any games in that scenario. But yeah, the game is getting released on Valentine's Day, so I think maybe it's a love story, maybe not, maybe just a convenient day. But yeah, I hope the game is good. In fact, I actually am really curious if anyone knows a game where you're playing a female and it's actually genuinely a love story, and there is a and it's and the her love partner is a male. Let me know because I'm actually curious to see how the game turns out.